Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharmila, PhD scholar of the Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University. A very warm welcome to each and everyone who has joined us today for the international webinar L'intégration de la technologie dans l'enseignement et l'apprentissage, Integration of Technology in the Teaching and Learning, which is organized by the Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University, in the project of RUSA Phase 2. First, let us begin with the invocation, Tamil Thai Varthu.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Good evening. I am Magarshana, Research Assistant, RUSA Project, Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University. I now invite Dr. R. Sudha, Professor and Head of the Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University, to welcome the gathering.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I think we are in different time zones, and I think I would say good day to all of you. I welcome all of you to this international webinar on l'intégration de la technologie dans l'enseignement et l'apprentissage, which means integrating technology into teaching and learning. I am very happy to welcome all of you. And in the first place, I am very delighted to welcome our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. M. Krishnan. And he has a very high profile, an excellent profile, I would say. He was earlier the chairperson of the School of Environmental Sciences of Bharatdasan University from 2010 to 2016. And he's from the Department of Environmental Biotechnology, Life Sciences. And before he took over as the VC of the Vice Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University on 1st January 2019, he was Professor of Biochemistry at the Central University of Rajasthan, Ajmer. And he has several projects and to the tune of crores. And recently, the Madurai Kamaraj University had a very, because of our Vice Chancellor, we got the score, the NAC grade of 3.54 in the fourth cycle. That was a tremendous task of his. And he is a very simple person, a very down-to-earth person. At the same time, he is very ambitious, and Madurai Kamaraj University is indebted to him for this NAC recognition. I welcome you, sir, to this gathering. And next, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. S. Chandrasekharan, Coordinator of RUSA, Professor of Plant Sciences, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai. Professor Chandrasekhar is also the chairperson of the School of Biological Studies. He's the coordinator of MAC, he's the coordinator of RUSA, and he is also the Dean of College Development Council. And both the personalities whom you see on stage are unassuming. They are very simple, and they are taskmasters, and our Vice Chancellor especially has achieved milestones in his careers. Next, I would like to welcome the speakers of this session. the young alumni, Mrs. Shanmugapriya from the Pandey and Mr. Keba Joseph. I am very happy to give you a warm welcome to our department again. You are our students, and I'm proud to see you, performing here. And I know you have been very committedly and very seriously working on this project with me. We already had 3 rounds, run-throughs, and that shows how much you want to make this event a very successful one. I'm happy to welcome my colleagues, my friends from the university, and I would love to welcome now the participants for the overwhelming response. Participants who have registered around 275, and participants far and near, from far, but yet so near. So welcome you all to a very fruitful session. And I would welcome my own team, the Department of French, faculty, scholars, students, and admin staff. And I wish all of you a very happy evening and a good session. And I'm happy to welcome our Vice Chancellor and our BUSA coordinators once again. I welcome one and all. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm words of welcome. Next, we request the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University, Professor Dr. M. Krishnan, who has been appreciative of all the initiatives by our department to deliver the presidential address.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
My voice is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My dear and respected Dr. Sudha, my dear and respected Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Ajit Kumar, Dr. Shanmugapriya Angapandian, and other expertise available in this wonderful conference, international conference. I am so happy to participate in the inaugural function. But before that, I am getting apology. Because of the urgent work, I am traveling to Chennai. So I have some problem in the internet. So if whatever the problem, or if you are not going to see my face, or my voice is not very clear, it's all because of me. Because Sudha and his group did wonderful work to connect everybody. But because of my travel, it's very difficult to join with you. But I am not going to take much time because so many speakers are available. Today, this conference is going to talk about how you are going to connect the technology for assignment or getting the job and other things. Before that, I have to say that we are all worried about it, the retirement of Dr. Sudha. Why? Because if Sudha retired from the department, and also she rightly told that she doesn't want to continue in the superannuation period. So in that situation, as a Vice Chancellor, I feel very difficult, or I pain how I am going to run the French department as equal to the department run by Dr. Sudha. So that is that worry what I am having whenever I am thinking about the French department. Because French department is one among the best department in Madurai Kamaraj University. When I am going for the admission, every year we are getting a very good students to study French. And if I am seeing the profile of the department, the students studying in the department getting the job throughout the world. So the department is going very good for the last 20 years. But now, I don't know that there is a break is going to come. But I request Dr. Sudha, before you are leaving, kindly do something to bring somebody which will be helpful to my students who are there already in the department. If I am coming to the French language, because I visited the country France so many times, I know that the French people are very good people, and they are very polite, and they are very affectionate, and they are that tendency to receive any guest in France, because I could see that their language is also very stylish, and they are spreading over throughout the world to get the job. Now the Madurai Kamaraj University is also trying to give a certificate or diploma course in French. For that, I have to thank Professor Chandrasekhar as a director or the coordinator for that RUSA project funded by Tamil Nadu government and also that central government. What we try to do that we want to establish a foreign language center along with the French. We are going to run that certificate course on Russian. We are going to run the certificate course on Japanese. By that, my students are going to get a good opportunity to work throughout the world. So this conference, international conference, definitely gives some idea to my students how the French is going to be useful not only in India but also throughout the world. So I don't want to take much time because due to the travel, I'm not getting it very clear, even my face. So I wish to complete my inaugural address, and I wish that the conference get more success because it's live in YouTube, and then it will useful to that all the people who is going to see that YouTube. With this, once again, thank you very much. All the expertise available in this conference, particularly Sudha, for inviting me to give the inaugural address. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging and appreciative words. Now we welcome the coordinator of RUSA, Dr. S. Chandrasekharan, Professor of Plant Sciences, Madurai Kamaraj University, to give the keynote address.
I think good afternoon to all. Sharmila, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Sharmila, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon to everyone. I asked the organizer, Professor Sudha ma'am, what I have to speak in this conference. Ma'am told me to talk about first RUSA. Actually, RUSA is Rashtriya Uchatar 60 Abhiyan, launched in the year 2013 by Government of India along with state governments. Actually, RUSA is to improve the quality education, particularly in state institutions. The phase 2 program is different from the RUSA phase 1 program. The main difference is the phase 1, they provided huge some money to improve the overall infrastructure facility. The phase 2, they are insisting what you can say skill oriented programs and the activities related to skill development. So Madurai Kamaraj University keenly implementing the government vision by taking the opportunity to improve the skill in various sectors, starting from industry to education. We have an exclusive entrepreneur hub in Madurai Kamaraj University to culture the entrepreneurial behavior and motivate the students to become entrepreneurs. So as Vice Chancellor told, we have a centralized language lab exclusively to teach the foreign languages such as French, Russian, Japanese, and the required other languages too. Actually, the languages are very important, not only in the course of human evolution, but even humans are more interested not only understanding the human language. People are fascinated towards language whether exists in other organisms also. I think with this small story I can complete. Fritsch, he got Nobel Prize for decoding the honeybee language. Actually, you can see if you have any opportunity to monitor any beehive, some bees are doing dance. That dance is called waggle dance. The waggle dance is having too many informations. First one is whether the food is available in the nearby area, or the bees need to travel long distance. You can see the quality of food. Sometimes you can notice some bees will be trying to dance, performing the waggle dance. By the time other bees will be blocking them. That is to say, don't believe this boy, he is telling something wrong. So always languages are very important for human beings. So I think Professor Sudha, a dedicated teacher, always a motivational teacher. She is even motivating us to take up many new projects. So with these few words, since I am not familiar with the language French, so I congratulate and I wish all success to the participants and to the organizers. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for the informative speech about Rusa and also the interesting anecdote about bees. Now we call upon Dr. P. Ranjit Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University, to introduce the speakers of the session. Sir, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce the presenters. Today, we have two presenters with us, Ms. Shanmugapriya and Mr. Keba Joseph Xavier, to share their experience in this webinar on l'intégration de la technologie dans l'enseignement et l'apprentissage. Shanmugapriya is a French language instructor for more than 10 years. She is working for the Hopkinton High School in Massachusetts and has also worked as International Communications Executive for Michelin, the French tire manufacturing plant. Priya has got 2 master's degrees in French language and literature from India, and she was awarded Indo-French Government Scholarship to earn a bachelor degree in Francophone literature from Sorbonne University, Paris, France. As a firm believer in active learning, Priya maintains a very lively and interactive classroom and supports her students to enhance the 4 language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing in French. To facilitate teaching complex grammatical and linguistic materials to the beginners of French language, she decided to modify from the traditional methodology and integrate game-based learning in the curriculum. This enables her to create an environment in which students can actively experience, experiment, and discover a foreign language and apply their language skills in practical situations. And we have another presenter, Mr. Keba Joseph. He is a French teacher and EdTech coordinator at the Ambassador School, Sharjah, UAE. He has 14 years of experience in the French language teaching. He has worked in several schools and colleges in India and abroad. He has master's degrees in French and English. He has attended tech integration studies at Cavillam, France. He is an active member of Gulf French Teachers Forum, AITF, IFF, IATF and FIPF. He is having a very good experience in using educational apps and online platforms like Penton Schools, Olympia, and SDG Academy. Now, I will hand over the session to the presenters. Thank you.
Hey Keba, how are you?
Hi Priya, how are you? So how is going on?
Yeah, hope it's vacation for you, right?
Yes, our vacation just started.
Okay, it's good to catch up after a long time. I think it's the second webinar that we are doing together.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
So what do you think about today is going to be about?
I mean, it's a very cool day. Weather is really good. It's around 7 o'clock here in the morning. And I think I'm very excited to meet the participants for the second time. And, there is a lot to learn, a lot to share. And this year was really a lot of learning for us. Very good experience. In fact, I should tell that it gave us a positive attitude towards life, I could tell. And what about you?
Exactly, like being the new normal. They call it as a new normal. So it has taught us to be more innovative and to adapt a lot of innovative practices. Yes, like it went on well, really. I would say that. Yes, it has taught us a lot, this pandemic, to be said. The new normal.
I totally agree with you. Okay, so without a further ado, we'll move on to the presentation for today.
Sure.
Let me share my screen.
Of course. So have a good day.
You too, Keba. Bonne chance.
Bonne chance.
Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen. Okay, so it should be surprising that I'm showing you a classroom. Yes, courtesy of Forbes, I was able to get this picture. My classroom almost looks similar with a bunch of high school kids with a mask, separated with a 6 feet distance, and some students who had to be quarantined because of COVID restrictions. And as a teacher, I have to integrate 2 cohorts, some of them within the classroom and some of them outside the classroom through Zoom. It was definitely a very good environment, I could say. Though we had a lot of issues in the initial stages, we were able to look in a positive way towards life. And it was great. It was really great that we could enhance a lot of skills to the students, especially during this situation. And let me move forward with the technology that I have used and the platform that I have used for this year to engage the students. Okay, let me go with the 5E model of instruction. So what is the 5E model of instruction? It's very simple. Engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and finally evaluate. So this is something each one of us do in the classroom. But how is it a little different? Let's see. Ce modèle décrit une séquence d'enseignement en 5 étapes. Oui, the 5-stage teaching sequence. Il peut être utilisé pour des programmes entiers, des unités spécifiques et des leçons individuelles. Les enseignants intègrent le cycle d'apprentissage pour aider les élèves à construire leur propre compréhension à partir d'expériences et de nouvelles idées. En fait, j'ai commencé à engager des étudiants en utilisant les jeux dans la salle de classe et aussi pendant le cours en ligne. Et puis, j'ai donné de la chance qu'ils peuvent continuer à faire leurs recherches dans les sites Internet. Et voilà, ils peuvent continuer à élaborer leurs connaissances en utilisant expliquer en utilisant la présentation et puis élaborer leurs connaissances en utilisant l'activité comme le choice board que je vais expliquer. Et puis, évaluer leurs compétences linguistiques, on peut utiliser l'application telle que Storyboard. Voilà. Comme j'ai déjà expliqué, engage stage, which is to pick the student's interest and get them personally involved in the lesson, while pre-assessing prior understanding. And to engage the students, I most use the games because it really helped with their cognitive skills and it helped with the self-learning process. It gave a recreational break, especially with all the screen time that they have been going through. And it definitely boosted up their memory and gave a positive attitude in their performance. So now let me begin with a small game that I used to engage. And to explain, I have been using one topic, which is la mode. I have just segregated as them separate units. For example, the first one, identifying the clothing with the article. Let's say I created a scenario for the students. Perhaps they were in the classroom or outside the classroom, quarantined, n'importe quelle chose, n'importe quelle situation. Cool ou nage. We all know cool ou nage, sink or swim. So once they complete the activity, they come up with je nage, or they use the tense that they are learning, like je nagerai, j'ai nagé, so that they integrate the grammar along with the vocabulary. Since I've asked them to use the definite article, they come up with a bunch of things, like for the boyfriend, for the girlfriend, for the mom, for the dad. So in case they are going to be in their house, how can you help them to move about? Because we talk about kinesthetic strength a lot. Movement keeps them activated. So just ask them to bring 2 boxes, go to the closet, pick 5 clothing from the mother or 5 clothing from the sister, the same for the men, and try to put this in the basket. If it is going to be with technology, or let's say they are going to play the game from home, they could just write in a piece of paper and put it in the basket and keep it ready for the teacher to ask questions. If they are in the classroom and you want to integrate technology, I have used a website, and once they click here, it would take them to the website, which would also give them the listening challenge. They could read, and from this material provided, they could choose and put it in the basket, or use a dictionary, which is also good because people are losing the habit of using paper, and I encourage students to use a dictionary a lot. So let's say this is done. Now I pose the question, que pensez-vous des articles dans les vêtements féminins? You see both the articles, la robe, le tailleur. Why does this happen? It's feminine clothing, but we have both the genders. This makes them to think about why they cannot be integrated as one gender. Yes, of course, we know that any noun can have both gender, and we cannot segregate because it's a men's clothing or women's clothing. Let's say, to make learning very simple, because with gender, always students have issues. So I give them one clue. If it ends with E or ION, put it in the feminine gender, and the rest, put it in the masculine gender. So once they click the link, they will be able to do a vocabulary kind of stuff where they can pick whether it is going to be le or la. They follow the same rule. And this is just a screenshot. Because of lack of time, I'm not just going online and explaining things. For example, non, la basket. It does not end with E, but still it is la basket. De la même façon, le costume. It ends with E, but it is masculine gender. So they know the difference, and they learn the exceptions alone. So this makes learning much more easier. Very same way I used to assist them giving a game like this. They have to guess the meaning and keep it ready. And I go one by one with the answers. So this helps to pre-assess whether they are in the beginner stage, intermediate stage, or in the advanced French level. For information, I have used all these: word search, crossword puzzle, Quizlet. I think I have explained all these in the previous webinar, but I'm sharing all these links with you in a Google document to make things easier. This is a sample of the word puzzle that I created and the crossword puzzle that I created. Let me talk about this Pictionary in person. This game we have played a lot. We have used it for fun activities, but we can also integrate this into the curriculum. Let's say students want to share things through images. You have the vocabulary ready, shared with the translation. When you say le tailleur, they can draw and show it to you. Or you say the word and they give it as an image form. Just play around using Pictionary in person, even with 6 feet distance in the classroom, dividing them into the groups. Sky is the limit for your imagination to play this game. In case you want to play Pictionary online, there is a website that I have shared with you in the Google document. And you can play by creating a private room for the students. So this is very interesting because you keep them engaged with the semantic code and also the visual code. There are diverse learners and we have to take care of all of them in the classroom. Let's say I move on to the next stage. The purpose for the explore stage is to get students involved in the topic, providing them with a chance to build their own understanding. So explore stage, it goes much more intense. The reason I start with the game is you have to give the impact that this unit is going to be very, very simple for you. Let's start with the game, make things easier, make things fun, and then they feel comfortable with you. And let's go to the main idea or the main picture for the day. Explorer de nouveau vocabulaire et idées. And I give this objective something different, like respecter l'humanité, respecter la diversité dans le cours for every unit. Respecter et célébrer la différence dans la culture. In this case, you can see some pictures, and I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. This is an article that I got from Express. I know Mr. Jaker is sharing a lot of articles with us in the journal, and I happen to put a folder and keep it. And whenever I find time, I used to read some of these articles. I came across this, and I was really captivated by the essence of this article. And it was very close to the topic that we were teaching, la mode. One snowy February morning in New York, the Gypsy Sport brand received a standing ovation at the end of the presentation. What's the reason for this enthusiasm? That was a parade of an explosive cocktail of African-American, Asian, Métis, white, and albino models of all sizes, some queer, other drag queens, or transgender. Yes, we need to respect everyone, and everyone as human being. And this is the message that I want students to take in along with the curriculum. So let's say I pose a question. Pourquoi y a-t-il de la diversité de mode dans les pays différents, les régions différentes? And we discuss about the different traditional costume in or le vêtement en France. I explain them with the map. Once I click here, actually it takes to the map. And Provence, I show the difference. And maybe due to climatic reasons, or maybe because it was a tradition and they had to follow it. There could be several reasons, but students start to explore more and more. And one day they came up with, Madame Priya, what is it that you are wearing? Like sometimes I see people with a tunic kind of stuff, and then I see them walking with a white towel. I mean, they were actually talking about the dhoti. Okay, so I thought, why don't I integrate it into the classroom? And I spoke about the Indian clothing and explained them along with the props. I took some clothing from home and showed it to them. And there were curious questions like, comment est-ce qu'on peut serrer ce tissu? They were talking about this dhoti. How can you hold it tight? And I said, yes, of course, many people can do that. But if you want, you can also use a belt. And they really wanted to try it, but because of COVID, we couldn't do it. But maybe next year I would try this in my classroom. So let's say we have given the opportunity for students to explore. Now, they have to come out with the knowledge that they have received during the exploring stage. And how am I going to create that platform for them? They came out with so many presentations, wonderful, wonderful presentation. I mean, I didn't even expect that they would come up with things which I have never thought about. So one of the students came up with the fashion trend in the 40s, and they spoke about what was the price during that time. It's a throwback. It was 79 cents. And the combi shop was 19 cents. And they learned new vocabulary, of course, combi shop, portrait, all these things that I have not taught came up in the presentation. And I put everything in a Google document and shared it with the students so that they learn from one another. In fact, they did the presentation, but they could also go and read and see how each one have done the presentation. Then we spoke about le kimono, which is the traditional costume, because we have students from diverse backgrounds. So let's say my challenge in integrating technology begins here. I have so many students in the class that I cannot focus with their reading skills. And I was just wondering how I can do the time management and also make them to read and impart the phonetic skills. That's when I thought about Google Translate, because if you know, there is an icon over here. And once you click the icon, It can read it for you. It can read it in 2 levels, which is a normal one and also very at a slow pace. So I'm just, I had just done a Screencastify. I spoke about Screencastify earlier, Panopto, where you can record the screen along with your voice. This is just a Screencastify.
Au Japon, le vêtement traditionnel est le kimono. Le kimono est large et
So they can pause and listen again and practice their reading skills. So let's say there are a lot of self-learners who will prepare and come for the class, but you still have few people where you need that one-on-one attention because no student should be left behind. Now you have ample time to focus on them and get them back with the others, because collaborative learning is something very, very essential in the classroom, and we care about every student. So I'm moving on to the next one.
Au Japon, le vêtement traditionnel est le
So we go with the elaborate. The purpose for the elaborate stage is to allow students to use their knowledge and continue to explore its implication. Let's say we got with a serious topic like exploring and respecter et célébrer la différence. Now I want to break the routine, that monotony of the classroom. I go back with the games. And the topic that I gave was Qu'est-ce qu'on porte? This is a choice board. It's an activity to help students to elaborate the concept and use their vocabulary skills in new context. Okay, what is something different with this choice board? Let's say I'm giving this choice board and I ask students to choose a number, or you can assign a number to them, or ask them, bring an object with la couleur brune, la couleur verte, and whoever came with the object, because again, we need the kinesthetic strengths. And let's say they come up with an object avec la couleur verte, then they choose number 5. Once you have assigned or pre-assigned the choice for them, let's see what's happening. Because this choice board is like a box of chocolates. You have different flavors, and you have to create the anxiety of the students because they have to get involved. Once we are giving exercise from the textbook, it becomes a monotony and the participation. So try to change your textbook questions into a choice board activity or a jam board, which will help them to participate in the classroom. So, la vie c'est comme une boîte de chocolat. On ne sait jamais sur quoi on va tomber. Yes, of course. Let's say person with number 7, they have PV Sindhu and they have to describe the clothing of PV Sindhu. Or it could be a simpler question like Qu'est-ce que tu portes quand il fait du soleil? So based on the niveau of the students, as I said, the intermediate level or the advanced level, you can choose people. And voila, you have Mr. M.G. Ramachandran. Nobody would have expected him in a choice board, but you do. This idea came from childhood memories. I think you have thought about Oleum Oleum, because that was the only program that we used to have when we were in childhood. And as friends, we used to make a choice. We have 7 songs, and each of our friends choose one number every time. And we are very happy and so anxious to see who is going to be there in the song. If we have a favorite hero or heroine, that becomes a discussion for the next day. That was entirely the inspiration for me to do this choice board. I'm going to share this template with you. You can play around. You can insert a text box. You can insert images. You can put an audio file. You can insert a video file. Again, sky is the limit. This is no rocket science, and you can do it just as simple as anything, like a kindergartner. So also, I put a blank so that some students stay calm and quiet. They don't have to participate, but still they can observe the others. So this creates the anxiety among the students, and they really enjoy doing this game. Come on. Also make your expectations very clear. Whether you want a very simple sentence like this, or since I have already introduced the vocabulary now, I want them to apply in a practical situation. So let's go with the clothing throughout the globe. And they came up with a description. I'm just taking the slides which they did, and I have posted it. So I have nothing to do with this. Or it could be Beyonce. Look at the description. It goes much more advanced. So choose the type of exercise that you want them to come up with and give clear expectations. Let's say it was a monotonous day and you are given the last day of the class. It's a Friday evening. Students are very tired. You are very tired. How can you motivate them? We all know that kids love video games. So I started to integrate this tic-tac-toe game in my classroom, which is pretty much like 2 minutes game. Once you click, you'll be able to play with the computer. And if you see, this is similar to the choice board. And that's one reason I chose tic-tac-toe. So once they are playing with the computer, they can choose either the cross or the circle. And that is what they are going to describe for the assignment as a homework or within the classroom. So pretty much they get activated because they have that adrenaline rush when they play the game. So the next moment, they are ready to participate in the classroom. So just incorporate these kind of silly games in the classroom, or they can invite a friend and play with them, and they share the choice board. So I'm just sharing a video on how to do a choice board.
Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to create a choice board using animation. So first, you need to start by grabbing images from Google, or you can get it from Google and upload it to your computer. And then from there, you would click Insert, then Image, then you can directly upload the images, or you can just search the web from right here. In my case, I'm just going to click Upload from Computer, and I have all of these pictures stored in a folder on my desktop. I can then take all these images and put them. And then as you can see here, I have 2 characters in one picture, and I don't want that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop the image and make it so I only want one of the characters. And then you would re-hit the crop button, and now you can see, as you can see, there's not another character in the image. So you're going to go ahead and do the rest with all the other pictures and put them in their corresponding squares.
I'm just moving because
from here you're gonna animate, as that is the whole point of this presentation. You will click on such image and animate, and you want to be under object animations, as you want to animate just these pictures. You would then click on the image, and you want the second button to always be on click. And then you can choose between any of all these animations. I prefer fade in, but I can show multiple examples. Then for him, we can click add animation, go to fade in, and you can change it. And in this case, I'll choose up here. And then for him, I will also click add animation, and then I can put it on zoom in. See, now you have all 3 animations have been set. So from here, what you're going to do is you can either go to present and click on each image, or you can just click play, and you will be able to see every single one of your animations show up over time.
Okay, this video is also going to be available in the Google document that I'm going to share with you, so that you can go over, and the template is there for you to create your choice board. Because this choice board is almost like $4 every month. So I just don't want you to pay for it. I created a template. You can use it. It's free of cost. So let's say I asked my son to do the recording. The reason is I want students to participate. And that's what we can do. When you have a presentation, ask parents to record the presentation and send it. In that way, you know that you are caring about them. You just connect with the parents, especially when they are at home. And this is one way of integrating technology, and parents also know that you care about the students and what are the new technologies that you are using to involve them in the classroom. So let's go ahead.
Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to create a choice board.
Sorry. I'm going to the next one. That's a problem with technology. Sometimes it gets stuck. Okay, now let me move to the next one. It's called an exit ticket. I think it's very important to go for a feedback, because now students have done so many activities and you have to know what they have got. So put your questions there because you should know what they have understood by this time for the final evaluation. And this is just a sample. It is not for this activity. So I put an exit ticket. This is how it looks like. You can have a Google document, or I leave a basket when the students exit. That's why I call it as an exit ticket. They can fill in the form and they don't have to write the names. That will give me an idea about where I have to go back and start if they need more help with verbs, if they need more help with vocabulary, if they need help with construction, if they need with reading, so that I can go to the final stage, which is evaluation. Yes, as we have said, we have done a lot of informal assessments, but now we have to go with the formal assessment where they know to read, write, and speak in French. And of course, the listening skills also. So I use a storyboard, which is a graphic organizer. It's helpful to plan a narrative and again with collaborative learning, because 2 people or more people can participate in this activity. Let's say they build a cartoon and the characters are going to be their choice. They can choose the color, they can choose a dress. Let me show you how to do this. So you choose a background and then you can choose characters. I'm going really fast, okay? But you can play around the characters, you can play around the text. Come on, here we go. Go to the box, do the typo, ta-da, you get it. And once the conversation is ready, I would ask them to take a screenshot rather, because I think there is a limited storyboard. You can do 2 storyboards for a week, but if you take a screenshot, you can do n number of storyboards. So let's say they just do it and take a screenshot and keep it ready. In this case, I have made a mistake, okay? There is a typo. I don't have to go and redo, but I put a text box and keep it ready, and I can insert it over here. I can even change the background, but I want the color to be seen. That's why I have the white as a background. So go with the cartoon and let me say how I used it for the interpersonal skills. So this is a picture which I had from the classroom. Students almost, they came up with this idea. They were just dressed like the same cartoons that they created, and they almost looks or stand similar to that with a 6 feet distance. And we have the caption with the dialogues. They were talking about a brand called as Lululemon and what is the price of this shirt and other things. So now they integrate their listening skills, their spoken skills, their written skills, and they also get the confidence to speak in public. That is something very, very important, because we are preparing them for a big scenario like an interview, a group discussion. Slowly they build the confidence because we have small role plays. And finally, this is the finale that I used to have, just like the expose that we used to do in a classroom. Now, let me finish with all the useful websites. And as I have mentioned, I'm going to show you the resources that I'm going to put in the chat box. So I have word search, crossword puzzle, Quizlet, Kahoot, Gimkit, Storyboard, Pictionary, also how to play online, the choice board. So if you click the choice board, I have the template ready for you. You could see how it is done along with the video and everything. So now, pardon. I have to just share my screen for a moment. With my last slide, which is the best slide, I think. We tend to look through language and not realize how much power language has. Of course, I think we are not just foreign language teachers. We are more than that, because we don't just teach curriculum to the students, but we teach them life. And so we play a vital role, and just be proud of the role that we are playing today. Let's say I end my presentation with this powerful wordings from Deborah Tannen, who is a professor of linguistics at Georgetown University. And please don't hesitate to contact me. Here is my email, privasta@gmail.com. And I will also share it in the chat box. If you have any questions, you need help with technology, please don't hesitate to contact me. Have a wonderful day. Bonne journée. And with this, I pass on the platform to Monsieur Keba.
Oui, madame. Merci.
Merci.
Bonjour, messieurs, mesdames. C'est un grand plaisir de vous rencontrer chacun de cette plateforme virtuelle. Grâce à la technologie qui nous fait tout le monde pour explorer, adapter, réinventer plusieurs stratégies. Donc, pour faciliter l'apprenant, nous devons développer nos objectifs et l'approche pour bien le motiver. Avec l'intégration de la technologie, oui, c'est possible. Let me share my screen. Oui, l'intégration de la technologie dans l'enseignement et l'apprentissage. L'outil numérique s'est intégré davantage de pratiques pédagogiques déjà anciennes, mais dont il facilite grandement de la mise en place de pédagogie différenciée, pédagogie de projet, autonomie de l'apprenant, approche actionnelle, etc. Généralement, il y a 4 étapes d'intégration de l'outil numérique. La substitution, l'augmentation, la modification, la redéfinition. Donc, je vais expliquer comment on peut intégrer l'outil numérique en classe de flow, n'importe quel niveau. Alors, je vais concentrer l'outil numérique pour créer, pour collaborer et pour évaluer. The first and foremost, the app, which I'll be just doing it. So this session is going to be on hands-on. So where I'll be just taking through like how each app can be integrated into our teaching learning process. For the apps, what are the apps can be used for teaching, and what are the apps can be used for collaboration as well as for the evaluation. The first application is called the Jamboard. It is entirely free, c'est gratuit. So it's an app which could be used to assign for individual tasks, for collaborative tasks, and even the same application can be used for the assessment for learning. So how to get this app? So as you log into your Gmail account, where you have the 9 dots, they are called as a waffle menu. So clicking on the waffle menu, you can scroll through the apps where you come across Jamboard. So clicking on Jamboard, it takes you to the Jamboard page. So as I've created and used it for my classes, you can just see all the created Jamboards will be appearing on the home screen. So right here, towards the right bottom side of your screen, you can just see the plus symbol. So that is where it allows you to create a new jam. So clicking here, it opens a new jam. And here, just double clicking on this untitled jam, it allows me to name this jam, maybe class VTM. And here you can, the initial stage, you have set background. So by default, you have only these palettes you have, but still you can insert an image, you can change the background. And the other options over here, you can just see there's a pen which could be used. And then you have an eraser. So generally it has a slides. As you can just see here, each frame can be, there are in total of 20 frames can be created. A class strength of less than 20, this Jamboard is very much effective to give an individual task. Whereas if you are planning for a group task, for a collaborative task, this Jamboard can be used where in each of the slides, you can use the sticky notes. So here you have the sticky note where I could just create the group. So I create the group 1. Then I would just give the name of the students. So you can use the sticky notes, or I can use the text box. So text box, just clicking on the text box here and click on the screen where a text dialog box appears on the screen here. So here I can just type the names of the students. So where it allows me to enlarge. So I can change the font color. And you also have the frames here, the symbols, whereas circle. And clicking on here, you have the other more symbols like. So to make it more creative and attractive, so I just create a text box. And about this box, I just create a text box. So this is how you could create a Jamboard. So I can just show you how I integrate it with my students. So I've created the very first slide, I've created a theme. So what they need to do. So here the theme stands for les vacances, correspondance, la France, la outre-mer. And I've just given the objective, what they are going to learn. As far as for any task, learning objective is must, where it tells us what they are going to learn. As objective stands for the entirely a new concept. The concept and the content has to be very clear, which stands for the objective. So here I've just given an objective. It is for la protection écrite. That is their task. So savoir-faire, rédiger une carte postale. And what they'll be learning how to write a postcard message in the formal and informal way. And I've just given the culture and société, une île française, la Réunion. So of course they'll be learning about the French island, Réunion Islands. Now the next slide, I've just given the task. So this particular jam, which I've created, it is an individual task. So here the task so I've just given a link where it allows the students to click on the link, or if they have a mobile device, they could even scan the QR code to access this online exercise, which I've given it in the Google document. So it allows them to just work on individually and turn in their assignments. The task 2, so the first task where they have a reading comprehension. So the task which I've just put in over here, it is the reading comprehension, where they read about the different types of postcards, where is it formal and informal. They tend to answer those questions. So it generally takes about, for each postcard, I've just given 2 questions or 3 questions, where it helps them to complete the first task less than 10 minutes time. And task 3, so here I've just given them, that is they need to create a postcard. So before creating a postcard, I've just given the direction card here of what they need to write in a postcard. So for writing a postcard, the first step, I expect my students to create the carte mentale, that is the mind map. Of course, there are a lot of applications we have for the mind map. Maybe the upcoming webinars or so on, we would show you more about how to use the carte mentale, what are the different applications are used for creating the carte mentale. To name a few, we have DigiCart in La Digital. We have in Mentimeter, we also have to create a mind map. And even Moodle, we do create carte mentale. And of course, there are a lot of different applications. To name a few, I've just said few, but there are a lot of applications where we can create the mind map. But here, to make it simple, it is very easy, accessible for every student. And Jamboard can be used at any age level. So even for grade of 1 or grade of 2, in our school, we are using it even for kindergarten. Kindergarten kids also using it. Kindergarten 1, stage 1 students also using it. And even up to college level, this simple application can be used. If they're using a mobile device, they need to download an application called Jamboard. The same thing it happens with a tab. Whereas if using a desktop or a laptop, directly can be accessed from the shared link. I'll be just showing you through how the link can be shared. So here, students use the text box. So they just place the text box here, and then they just type in the words. So even the same Kath Montal can be even given as a group task. So where I would just put in the names of the students here with having a lot of sticky notes, group 1, group 2. So I just tell them who is the group 1. So group 1 of around 3 students would be working on with Le Métier, Lire, Formule Début. So they put in the vocabularies in these different boxes. Same thing, group 2 would work on the remaining 2, the mind maps. So that is how I just categorize the work. So having incorporated all the vocabularies, the expressions, I expect my students to bring in the outcome. And this is where it becomes an individual task here. So this individual task where students click on the text box and they paste it over here, and allows them to drag the entire page. So they could just, as and when they type in, it just goes on like this. So it allows them students to type in the work and turn in the work. And now I'll take you through the process how this particular Jamboard can be shared with the students. So clicking on share, and here you have the option restricted only to people who have been added. So I can directly add the names of the students by clicking on share. So if I have the names of the students with along with the mail IDs, only to those students alone will have the access to this particular jam. Or if I'm just for larger strength, I can just even share the link. Most of the schools have provided the individual email IDs for each of the students. So in that case, it is very much restricted. It just, okay, this link can be shared only to this particular school domain. That is a newly added one, which appears if you're logging in with your official mail ID rather than your personal mail ID. So under this restricted one, where it shows that is this school domain, anyone with this link, with this school domain mail ID will have the access. So in that case, it is very highly safe and secure. So this is the way you share the link with the others, with the students. And now, once the work has been completed, I want this work to be extracted for my evidences. So I just click on the 3 dots here, which generally is called a snowman. So here you have download as PDF or save frame as image. So download as a PDF. So when you click download as a PDF, the complete file will be downloaded as a PDF. The student's work will be downloaded as a PDF. So you can just see it has come as a PDF file. So even if students have put in the links, it also appears here. So the other options here, you have add image, where they could upload an image from the system, or Google image search, where very precisely it filters the search option and it just gives the content, right picture on your screen. So it allows students to directly upload a picture even. Or if they want any picture to be taken from what they have in their hand, so maybe you expect your students to take a picture of yourself and describe about yourself. So that is even possible. So like this, students take a picture and they directly insert it to the Jamboard. So by this, they could describe themselves. So these are the different tasks I integrated with my students. I can just show you another jam, which I've used it for grade 8. So I've just given the objective. The class was learning about prepositions. So using prepositions, I just gave them the free choice to choose any pictures of their choice. So they were inserting pictures from the image search, and they were just trying to describe the picture. So here the student named Ashish, he was just describing about it, c'est ma maison, so where it is situated. Le petit canapé est à gauche de la table, which is in the left side of the table. So they were just using prepositions and they were trying to make sentences. So as you could see here, each student have chosen their own picture and they were trying to describe their picture. So this is how Jamboard can be incorporated into your lessons. The next application, which I'll be just taking you through, it is La Digital. La Digital, it is an application which was been released by Kavilam Alliance Française Vichy. The program coordinator, or to be say the app creator, is Monsieur Emmanuel Zimmer, who was the attaché in India for several years. He was looking after Alliance Française of Madras. So I'm really happy to say that I was being trained up by him in Alliance Française of Kavilam about the tech integration. So here you have this application came in place from this January 2021. So they have created several applications here. So you may explore it a little later. So the very foremost application is called the DigiPlay. So as we being a teachers, many times we feel that, yes, when we share some links from YouTube links, students try to generate, when you just share an YouTube link, you can just see the other recommendation videos which flows up towards the side of the screen. But I don't want my students to be distracted by the other recommended videos which flows up towards the side of the screen. Generally, what students have watched previously, from their history, it would just flow up. So that is a kind of distraction. And there are some videos, really good videos, which is there online, where I want those videos to be used in my class. So for example, I just taking in a video.
Keep an ice cold head with the new Head and Shoulders Sub-Zero.
So most of the videos you can just see. So most of the videos you can just see it starts with an ad. So I just don't want these kind of an ad distractions for my students. So I just open up any YouTube video. I right click on it. I just copy the video URL. Then I directly go to DigiPlay. I just place this link over here. I just click validate. So sans distraction, this video will be played. And even at the end of the video or during the course of the video, you will not have any recommended videos which is flowing up. So here, the right in the introduction part, I don't want it is a 54 minutes long video, but I just want the video to be started at the 4th minute. And then I want this video to be ended. I don't want 54 minutes of video. I just want it just about maybe 8 minutes to be said. So I just want this video to be completed at the 8th minute, 33 seconds. Then I just click on generate. So as you can just see here, the 54 minutes video, it has been reduced to 4 minutes, 33 seconds. So it doesn't start from the beginning, it starts from the middle of the video and to the middle part of the video. To whatever selection of thing has been done, it happens within a few fraction of seconds. Generally, what we do, we just download the video, you put it into some other application, and then you need to crop the video. So that cropping could be made within a few fraction of second using La Digital, the DigiPlay. The very next interesting tool, it is the DigiRead. Most of the authentic documents or some online web links where I expect my students to read through and work on maybe if they're working on some culture part. So I generally use the euroclubschools.com. It's one of the very best application before teaching any literature part or culture and civilization part, I use this this web link called euroclubschools.com. Sometimes there are some recommended ads which flows up. I don't want those kind of distractions. So what happens? So if I just want this page, so this page you can just see there are a lot of other ads which is coming up. Ensure actuality. So I just copy the link from the address bar, and then I just go to DG Read. I just paste the link over here, and I just click validate. And here comes, without any the other distractions, any ads flowing up, just only the content appears on my screen. So in that way, the distraction is taken away from the students. And how do we share this link with the students? The same way, we just copy the link from the address bar, and we can directly share it with the students. The same way for DigiPlay as well. The link, this video, the cropped video can be shared by copying the link directly from the address bar. Or when you just scroll down, here you can just see it creates a unique QR code. So if students are having a device, so they can just scan it with their mobile phone to get this video, or I can just share the link which is displayed over here. The same rule applies for DG Read as well. So these are one of the two best applications where, without any distraction, to keep the online learning on progress, this is one of the best applications. The next application, which is generally used for comprehension, for protection orale, this is the best application, Vecaro. So Vecaro is an application where you register your voice, record your voice in a very simple format. So I'm just typing Vecaro in the Google search. Here you can just see online voice recorder. So clicking on over here, so that's it. So it just opens up a page and with the microphone option. Initially, when you click on this, it will ask you, do you want to allow your microphone to access to this page? It has to be allowed, otherwise the recording will not take place. So when I just click here, yes, now it started recording. So bonjour, mes amis. So I just keep speaking. So I generally ask my students, okay, introduce yourself. For grade 5, grade 4, those who are learning French, even for higher graders, if they want to give their recordings for protection orale, for any type of practices, this Vecaro can be used. So once the recording has been done, you just click on the same place where the recording happens there. So if you can just check through it, yes, now it started recording. So bonjour, mes amis. So I just keep speaking. So I generally ask my students, okay, so this is how it just records in a very perfect and clear pitch. And here I just click on save, share. So I just tell my students, just copy the link, share it with me in the LMS platform, Google Classroom. Or sometimes students share the QR code. Once they click on, it downloads to the system as an image file. So this QR code can be shared. Sometimes for the treasure hunt, I generally put in a lot of these kind of QR codes, QR treasure hunt. For our language day, generally we do that. So we put up QR codes around the campus. So students have given a device, they just go and scan. So when they scan the QR code, some QR codes comes with an answer. Some QR code where I record my voice, so students, it allows them to play it. So, and to hear what instruction I've given for the class. So that way, this could be incorporated really well. And even not only with the QR code or with the link, it allows you to download this entire audio as an MP3 file. When you click on download, so you can just see how it has been downloaded as a MP3 file. So one of the best application for which could be used for the spoken assessment. For speaking skills, this is one of the best application. The next application, which is a well-known, which is called immersive reader. So for this immersive reader, this is it is not an application. This is an extension. We call it a Chrome extension. This Chrome extension can be done just opening up a new browser. In most of your systems, you come across this symbol. This is called the add-ons. So, or you can just click on Web Store. You can directly type here in the address bar as a Web Store, or you can click on the apps, which most of the systems will have. So clicking on apps, I click on Web Store. So here I type in the immersive reader. So here, use immersive reader on websites. So I just click on here. As I've already added this extension into my system, it is not showing here. Otherwise, for those who are first time when they are just using immersive reader, there'll be an option called add to my Chrome browser. So when you just click on add to my Chrome browser, it'll be activated like this. So you can just see here on my screen, it has been activated on my screen. So now, once this has been added to your Chrome browser, now I'm just opening up any document or any authentic document. Please make it sure that any document which is downloaded to your system or a document which is there in your system as a PDF file, it will not read. Immersive Reader is an application, any web pages which is there in online or an online PDF file, those documents can be read out using Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader is an application where it helps for the students of difficulty of reading, even for listening skills, and even much more for creative writing also can be used. I'll just show you how this can be used for these different skills. So I'm just selecting this text. So I'm opening up authentic document. So I'm just highlighting or selecting this particular text. After selecting, I just click right click, and here you come across here, help me to read this. I hope it is visible on my screen. Help me to read this. So clicking on this, it takes you to the Immersive Reader platform. And here, this complete text has been highlighted, and it is integrated with the artificial intelligence. So it detects the language and it reads in that targeted language. So here I'm just clicking here.
Le vieux manoir et ses mystères Marie, jeune orpheline, est envoyée chez son oncle qui habite un vieux manoir en...
So even I can reduce the speed of the reading, and I can just choose the male voice to female voice, or female voice to male voice.
Pleine campagne. Toujours ronchon, elles traînent dans l'immense parc du manoir en râlant.
So it helps the students to listen and helps to practice their pronunciation. The next option, the best option over here, you have the grammar options. So these 4 dots. So I click on here. So in this text, I want all the nouns to be highlighted. So I just click on nouns. I can just see all the nouns have been highlighted. So it helps the students to know that, okay, these are the nouns which has been used in this particular text, where I want my students to know even the verbs, the adjectives. So nouns, verbs, adjectives which are used in this text have been highlighted. The words which are highlighted in red are the verbs, those which are highlighted in green, they are the adjectives, and the purple, which are the nouns. So this helps them. So I just ask the students to pick out these nouns, adjectives, and verbs, and hereby they learn, okay, this verb has been conjugated in this particular tense, and these are the adjectives, and why these adjectives are placed in the feminine form. So they learn about the gender formation of the adjective as well. And having this, I just ask the students, okay, here is a text which is chosen from a story. Now you create your own story. or you try to remake this own story in your own words, having these same nouns, adjectives, or the verbs. So that helps them to know about more about. So this is an immersive reader. It is one of the best application, not only for listening. It helps to know the grammar notions in the text, which has been used in the text. The final and foremost application, which is called the exam.net. As during this time when online started, as you know, especially in India, the exams has been stopped in most of the cases. And even it's hampered, like to be said, like whether it's in colleges or schools, the proper exams were not able to be kept. Of course, there are a lot of reasons behind it, but still, exam.net, it is one of the best application how to have a proper proctored exam. Proctored, which means the high security mode. So let me show you that how this exam.net can be done. So just getting into a new browser, and you just type in exam.net, it takes you to this first page. So here, student will access through student, teacher will access with the teacher. So clicking on teacher, the initial stage, you'll be asked to sign up for a free trial. So when you click on sign up for a free trial, it'll ask you your name, your email address, where do you work, which country you work. So providing all these details, you'll be allowed to use this free trial. Free trial generally given for a month. If in your institution, if many are wanting to access this, for sure, exam.net would provides most of the schools for 3 months or 6 months of free trial. So we have used this exam.net in our schools, and successfully we were able to have the exams in a very proper proctored way. So the cheat protection is there in this application. Let me show you how this application works. So once you log in, after providing all the details, it takes you to this page where it allows you to create different types of exams. So here I just give an exam, test, file exam. So there are several options for here. No digital exam questions. Here, that is for la dictate, for the dictation. So where I choose this option. When I just choose this option, the application itself provides a space where students type in the answers. The best part of this exam.net, once students log into this exam.net, the complete screen is been locked. The students cannot jump over or switch over to any other application. Rather, they cannot just go to another browser to look for the answers. If they do so, if they try to do so, they'll be knocked out from the exam room and they cannot re-enter unless the teacher manually allows the students inside. So this is a high, safe and secure. And if students are trying to cheat, right, it reads, the system completely reads the IP address of the system and it captures all the data. And as soon as, till the exam gets over, the camera is kept on. So it captures the students' data. So it allows students, the cheat protection has been highly secured in this exam.net. So no digital exam is the where space provided by students. It allows students to type in what they hear and they type in the words. This can be used in a normal face-to-face classroom or even during the hybrid learning where through Zoom classes or Google Meet classes, teachers dictate the questions or give the dictation, students type in the answers. The next option is the PDF file. So using PDF file, it allows me to choose any ready-made question which I've created and kept it ready. Just a matter of second, it's uploaded into the system. So it just takes a little while. So it reads through how many pages are there. So here a simple exercise, a worksheet which I've just assigned for the students. And once everything is done, I just click close. So now the question has been added. It has been uploaded into this exam.net. Now this has been added. And here you can just see the other options. So we keep first name, last name, email, class, even the teacher's name can be given. If students are been providing the register number, so then student ID can be also given. And furthermore, writing area. So how I expect my students? Generally, we have that. Well, if students are allowed to type here, how do they type the accents? Of course, French, we have the different accents. So how do they type accent grave, accent aigu? How do the students know about it? So, but still, it is a preference of the students either to type in or scan handwritten work. So I just opt for scan handwritten work. So there are two options comes for the students. Either they can write or they can type in the answers directly in exam.net, or it allows them to scan the written work. The further accessibility tools, translation help, synonyms, speech synthesis. When I just enable this, the complete text will be read out in the targeted language. So if I just enable this right away, so whichever students are joining, for all the students, the speech synthesis will be allowed. But I don't want speech synthesis to be enabled for the entire class. I want it only for specific students. That I'll show you a little later. And this might have, is it only for the common typical written exams? No, even for listening comprehension, this exam.net can be used. You can have audio files put into your question papers where students listen to this audio text, they will be able to answer this. And there, the other subject tools, of course, this is mostly for the math and for science. And during the course of the exam, where I expect students to refer to a particular document and to respond. If I'm just giving an open book exam, where they refer to a particular document and they just come back and they respond to the answers. So I just click here, add PDF document. So they refer to this and they come back here. And even during the course of the exam, where I want to test the previous knowledge, before we actually get into the exam, they just want to take a pre-assessment. So I just provide a Google form or Kahoot or Quizzes or any other applications. Those URLs can be given. But I need to provide a proper user resource name that what this quiz is all about. Because exam.net, it actually reads that particular application's source and then it authorizes. And finally, this is the final settings to be done. So allow any browser, which means students will be able to access this exam in any browser, whether it's an Internet Explorer or whether it is the Chrome or any other browser. It really works in Safari, so on. So allow any browser, but prefer high security mode. When this has been enabled, the screen gets locked. They will not have the access of just switching to another window. But if they press escape key or touch any other options, of course, they can use any other keys, but except the functional keys. If they use any functional keys like escape or control, they'll be knocked out from the exam room and teacher has to allow them immediately. Here you have the options. Require explanation, but unlock immediately. When you just give this option, students can move out of the exam room anytime and they can just join at any time. But normally, it is always better to give require explanation and manual unlock by the teacher. So when you just give this, the students have to give an explanation why they have been knocked out from the room. And after giving explanation, they'll be allowed to join to the room. And now I create this exam. So now the exam is being created. So generally I share the exam key with the students. Here I just make it discoverable Now the exam is closed. When I just make it discoverable, students are put up in a waiting room, so-called as a lobby room. So they will not have the access of the exam, but they'll be put up in a waiting room. When I open the exam, then this question paper has been kept open. I'll show you how it looks on the student side. It's a preview of the exam. So this is how students, when they log in, they start the exam, and this is how the question appears. So they just go through it and they type in the answers. Or if the reading difficulty is there, they can toggle the window, that is side by side. So they are able to increase the screen like this, okay, decrease it, and they can type in the answers. Side by side, they can look at the questions and then they type in the answers. During the course of the exam, if students need to ask any questions, well, I have a doubt in this particular question, I don't understand this question. No need to come back to the Google Meet or Zoom call to clarify the doubts. Here you have teacher chat. So teacher chat, here as a student will type in question number 2, I have a doubt. So in the teacher's window, we'll come to know who has sent this message. So it will not go to the entire class. It is only with that particular student and with the teacher. And I have the option, maybe if that question is valid, where it would benefit the entire class, and I have the option to share it to the entire class. Or if it's valid only to that particular child, so I would just send the comments or the doubts only to that particular student. That it facilitates in this exam.net. I'll quickly take you through the process, how to create an exam with having the audio files. Write exams is nothing but you generally copy any questions you have created in a Word document. Most of the teachers, we are very comfortable in typing questions in a Word document. So I don't want to change it in a PDF file. So we just copy the entire file and copy paste it here. Just a normal copy paste as we do it in the Word document can be done here. So the whole text can be copied here directly. So let me show you a sample. Like if I just want this reading comprehension, I just select the entire file. I just copy this. I go back to the exam.net, Control V. I just paste this entire document over here. That's it. Exam is created. So I create, cancel, and close. Okay. So the exam has been created. So whereas if at all, if you want to have the audio files into your question papers, in the PDF format or write exam questions, you cannot have the audio files at all. Let me repeat it. If at all, if you want audio files in your question papers, you cannot use PDF file or write exam questions. You need to choose auto-marked exams. So auto-marked exams, the information block is where I give the instructions here. So I just, same way, I just copy it. I just paste it here. So I can just always move the files like this. Just like the way you work it out in the Word document, you can do so. So the instruction page I've just given here. And now I just want this first question to be put up into my thing with the picture. So even the pictures can be copied. So I can just reduce the size of the picture. Just for the plaza bow. And then now I would like to have some questions into this. So I just add sub question, then I choose multiple choice. So choosing multiple choice, I just click on Pro Reserve. And you have the options for écrivez. I just scroll down, I just give the options here. Add answer. Then for adding the next option, I just go here, visualize your class. And then I add answer. And the last option with telephony. Now, out of these three options, I choose the right answer. So this is the right answer. So I'm just enabling this as the right answer. So I've just created the first question. And here we need to make sure whether it's a checkbox or radio. Checkbox is multiple options can be selected. Radio is where only one option can be selected. So I click on here. And for a right answer, I expect only one mark. So that has already been added. Then I click OK. So now the question has been created. Then I'm just adding one last question. So this question, I don't want multiple choice, but I want the fill in the gaps. So here, I just type in this question. So I just typed in the questions, and now I want to add the gap. So what I do is I just highlight this word and just add gap. And I just highlight this last, so it's on. Okay. So I highlight this space, and the gap has been added. And here, for the reach, 1 point per gap, so 2 points. So I just click add. So here the question is created. At any point of time, you can click on preview, and you can just see how the question has been created. And now I've just created this question. Now I want to add the audio file to this. So I just click on audio file, add audio files. So click on new audio file. So I just choose this audio file. So generally it adds. So audio 1. So I can just check through whether it is audible or not.
Le prochain concert de placebo en France aura lieu à Bercy.
I just want to add another audio file. I just click on this and I add it. Here we go. So students has the option of just choosing audio 1 or audio 2. So once this is done, the other settings has to be enabled. That is, allow any browser but prefer high security mode. When this has been enabled, this option can be enabled unless and until the students have a high compatibility system. That is minimum of a Windows 10 version. And with the high-speed internet work, this high security mode works, which just completely locks the entire system, and no way students will be knocked out from the room. Even if they press escape key or any function keys, they will not be knocked out from the room. Until the exam gets over, they have to be in this room. So they cannot, unless teacher allows them, teacher can make the student to leave the room. But the student himself or herself cannot exit from the exam room. That is called the require high security mode. So now I've created this exam. So now I'm just making this exam discoverable. I mean, making it open. And this is how it appears for the students. So let me show you, like, okay, this is the students page. So here are students, well, they can type in. So they click on the audio file. They click on audio 1 and the fetch allows them to play.
Le prochain concert de placebo en France aura lieu à Bercy le 28 avril 2005. Réservez vos places dès maintenant. Téléphonez au 01 48 26 30 75.
So they type in the answers and they click submit exam. Maybe during the exam, there are some students which I want to know where they are typing. So you can just see there are students who have already joined here. So during the course of the exam, where the students have started the exam. So when you just click on here, so where the student is doing. If it's a typing, if the student is typing the entire answer, I can just click on fetch history. I'll come to know in which question student is answering right now. So, and even then, just clicking on settings, if this particular student needs speech synthesis, so I enable this speech synthesis and audio recording as well. So what happens when student opens the exam? It's here, speech synthesis is here. So I just click on here. Some students need some help in reading. So I just select the text. I change the language to French. And I just select the text. It helps to read it.
Vous allez entendre 2 fois un document. Vous aurez 30 secondes de pause entre les 2 écoutes puis 30 secondes pour vérifier vos réponses. Lisez d'abord les questions.
So this is how it helps them. And if students need to record, give their voice, so it also may be a detailed answer where students want to give their voice for recording. So they click on audio recording, and here comes, it asks to allow the microphone, and they click on the microphone and they could record the voice as the answer. So after recording, they click on this, the audio recording has been submitted now. Automatically it submits, and then the student will click on submit exam. This is the student's side, how it appears. So here you can just see, as a teacher, when we go to the exam list, and when we just click on monitor exams, and here you can just see this one student has been submitted. And exams, you can just see the complete answers can be downloaded as a Word file, or it can be downloaded as a PDF file, or can be added to the Google Drive also. So generally we do it as the Word file. So whether you want all students in one file or one file per student. So the file opens up here. So along with the student name, what time they logged in, and what answers they have clicked in, everything appears as such. So this is for the auto grading. For non-auto grading exams, we as a teachers can download the PDF file or as a Word document, and we can do the manual corrections. This is one of the best applications for this grading. Thank you, dear colleagues and friends, for paying attention and learning something new. I hope we learn to adapt and to integrate into our teaching practices. So let us be innovative in using these kind of applications, few applications, which can be used for teaching. So let us, before you integrate an application, decide which application you're going to use for teaching, for collaboration, and for evaluation. The assessment for learning should take place throughout the course of time. So keeping that in mind, assessment for learning can be of any skills, whether it could be a speaking, reading, or creative writing. Incorporating all the 4 skills, we need to ensure that we're using the right application for our lessons. At the same time, the digital safety knowledge the awareness has to be created to our students. As students are very much tech savvy, we need to ensure that students are using it wisely. So I hope La Digital or Vacaro of these applications are being highly secured apps. And towards the end here, I've just put in the QR code here. So all the applications, what we did today, are being shared, are being uploaded in this Padlet. of our MKU French alumni Padlet. So you can access, if you have a mobile phone with you, you can scan this QR code to look into the user guides of these different applications, what has been done today. And if at all, if you have any questions, you can use the chat box to answer this. If at all, if you miss out any questions to be asked, you can always ask your questions in this Padlet. So where we would be time to time, we would clear your doubts. So here we have put in all the user guides, and here you can put your questions, if at all, if you're not able to ask right today. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for the very inspiring, very informative sessions. That's all the time we have for today. Our speakers are willing to answer questions offline. You can find the particulars in the Padlet link in the comments. Now, we invite Mr. Rahul, Assistant Professor, Department of French, Madurai Kamaraj University, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, for the vote of thanks. First, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Murugan. I extend my gratitude to our VC who took our time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Then, I would like to thank our respected Professor S. Chandrasekharan, Coordinator, RUSA, Professor of Plant Science, MKU. Next, I would like to thank our own HOD, French Department, Professor R. Sudha ma'am, for making this webinar a reality. Now, I would like to thank our very motivated speakers of the day, Ms. Shanmugapriya Tangapandian, licensed educator for public schools, Massachusetts, USA, and Mr. Keba Joseph Xavier, EdTech Coordinator, Sharjah, UAE. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Jaikar of Delhi Public School, Kuwait, for his contribution to the webinar. Last but not the least, I would like to thank my colleagues, Madam S. Jayanti and Dr. P. Ranjit Kumar, for all their efforts in conducting this webinar. It is such an honor for me today. On behalf of the French Department MKU, I extend a warm welcome to the people in the gathering. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone at the webinar for their presence and their contribution to make this webinar a great success. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Yes, Agarshana, that would be all from my side.
Thank you, sir, and everyone. So we'll meet you all soon in an NKU French alumni special very soon. Thank you, everyone. Bonne soirée. Until next time.
Dear participants, the Google form, the feedback link has been shared in the chat box. So please, you may fill in the feedback form to receive your certificates. Thank you.